Hey everyone, this is your girl Crystal from Takatero, and I wanted to bring you your full moon reading for the full moon that will be Monday, May 16th. So if you're watching this on Sunday tomorrow, it is a Scorpio full moon and it is also a lunar eclipse. So let's talk about that a little bit. So Scorpio in the tarot is represented by the death card, and the death card is rebirth, transformation, the end of an old chapter, the beginning of a new chapter, that kind of wonderful and also terrifying transition period, if you will. And this moon is especially strong because of that Scorpio. So some of the themes that will come up with Scorpio, and definitely with the Scorpio moon, any Scorpio moon, but most definitely a full moon in Scorpio, is going to be things like fears, trauma, scary changes, but also liberation and the breaking down of things that aren't working anymore to create room for things that will. So it very much is out with the old and in with the new. And because Scorpio is a water sign and can go very deep, that's a deep dive kind of sign. Themes that will come up will be on the deeper side. It'll be more your emotional space. So, fear of failure, fear of success, fear of the same thing happening again, right? Issues around security and stability. And then, of course, just your emotional state, whatever that may be. So those are some of the themes that come up with Scorpio. And then full moons tend to be about letting go. Oftentimes there will be endings kind of naturally with a full moon, or starting to move towards endings or changes. The moon is also, a very intuitive energy. So intuition may be heightened in the next few days. Usually new moons and full moons are felt 3 days before and 3 days after. So we are already in the full moon energy for sure. Scorpio also can be very blunt and harsh in a way. If you know Scorpios, if you are a Scorpio, or if you have a Scorpio in your life, you know that, Scorpions can kind of have a little bit of a sting sometimes, but oftentimes the reason for that sting is because the truth hurts. So that's some intensity that can come with Scorpio as well. So just a little ditty, a little crash course on this moon energy that we're under right now. It may be felt quite intense, but it's ultimately a good intense, because we're not just talking endings, we're talking new beginnings, because Scorpio absolutely does both, especially with the power of a lunar eclipse and a blood moon at that. So let's get into it here. I pulled some cards and meditated on your cards in advance in the interest of time. I'm going to use the David Bowie Starman Tarot today. Very, very fabulous, kind of intense deck, good for this sort of energy. And let's roll into it. So first up, we've got the Five of Cups. Oh, sorry, guys. Let's see if I can get this a little more clear. This camera's sort of tough. So Five of Cups in reverse. Let's put this in the upright. Now let's talk a little bit about the Five of Cups. So Five of Cups, anytime you've got a five, you've got change. So, that kind of piggybacks right into what I was just talking about with this full moon. So change, letting go. And it can be kind of jarring change. It can be a change that, you weren't really anticipating, you didn't necessarily plan. There may be some anxiety or some just challenging feelings around Five of Cup energy, because oftentimes it's, kind of the best laid plans didn't really cut it. Or you hadn't made any plans to go in a particular direction, but suddenly the universe has kind of shoved you into this direction and you're like, whoa, okay. And so Five of Cups can talk about leave taking as well. A little bit of grief, right? Grieving what is lost, grieving what is over, having some anxiety over what's to come. Having this in the reverse, though, is, I think, a good sign. I think it's a little more auspicious to have the Five of Cups in reverse, because I wonder if I go closer, if that helps. I gotta noodle with this. I think I said that in the last reading, that I need to kind of noodle with this a little bit, but there you go. You basically get the gist. So Five of Cups in reverse tells me that that energy has passed, that whatever the tough situation was, whatever the changes were, that has passed. Like now you're kind of in aftermath mode with whatever this change was. It's sort of like, I mean, this may be too dramatic, but picking up the pieces, or at least reassessing your direction, because whatever the catalyst was for this change has already occurred, and now you're dealing with kind of the next steps. And because of that, Five of Swords comes up. So 5, we've got another change here. So 5-5, this is definitely a noticeable change, whether it was planned or you were thinking about it or not. It's a noticeable change because you've got 2 5s back to back. 5 of Swords in the upright, this can be a bit of conflict energy. So back to that Scorpio letting go energy, there may be conflict around, what do I do next? Where do I go from here? Oh shit, now what? That sort of energy. And the conflict, I feel, in this reading is more internal. It doesn't feel like you're having conflicts with other people or your employer or your landlord or whatever. Like it doesn't feel like that. It feels more like an internal conflict of just wrestling with some fear and anxiety around what's next, perhaps some self-worth issues. Wondering if, you can do better, you can get better, you do deserve to move into something that's happier for you. Just kind of that internal conflict that will come up. So I feel like this is the present energy. And again, it rings very heavily of like, okay, now what? Where do I go from here? Then you've got the Prince of Wands. This is a cool reading. I mean, I will say this, the main takeaway is this is a cool reading. This is a good reading. So, okay, we've got our Prince of Wands here, Knight of Wands in a more traditional deck. And what you can see with this is he's very future focused, almost laser focused. So we've got flames coming out of his eyes, looking at this wand, this fire energy, this wand of action. And, he's really, his heart space is really brewing here, right? And we've also got roots. And then we've got what you could put as your third eye, and given the coloring around it, we've got third eye and crown chakra. And even looking at his outfit here, the lightning bolts are kind of a purpley color, his sleeves are a purpley color, his hair is purple. So this is a lot of energy of co-creating with the universe. And then, of course, wands, the fire energy of action, actually doing the thing. So while there may be some internal conflict still with that Five of Swords, and there may still be a little bit of, spilled milk to clean up with the Five of Cups in reverse, again, you're dealing with aftermath, this is also clearing a path. It's kind of like a burn trail where a path has been cleared, and you can see it, which is very energizing. You can see it. That is motivating. And, now it's just kind of looking forward and figuring out the details, the nuts and bolts. Something that Scorpio is simultaneously good at and also terrible at, because Scorpio can see very far afield and they can dive super deep, but oftentimes it's this wand energy and this fire energy that becomes a challenge for that scorpionic energy, because Scorpio can get really lost in the weeds and lost in the details and get decidophobia. And so this energy coming up is saying, giving some advice or some encouragement to push through that and start mapping out an action plan, even if it's not an action plan you can do tomorrow. If it's an action plan that doesn't have a start date until 2 months from now or until 6 months from now, whatever, it's time to lay the foundation and lay the groundwork in that direction and start looking at those tangible steps. Because with that scorpionic energy, that deep water energy, it can very quickly and easily extinguish this fire energy, right? What happens when you throw water on a fire? It goes out. So this coming up is a call to push through that decidophobia energy, and instead of getting lost in the weeds and all of the minutia, or the self-doubt or the fear of failure or any of that kind of stuff. What if this, then that, what about this, what about that? Just map it out. Just map it out. Act as if, as they say, because you've got your root chakra on board too, right? You've got your root chakra here on board saying, hey, this is rooted in some good foundation, right? This is rooted in heart space. This is co-creating with the universe. This is really going after what makes you feel good on an emotional level, but also on a security level. So go forth and do, right? Don't dampen your own flame. And then we've got the King of Cups and the Six of Cups, which feels like complementary energy towards this Prince of Wands, right? The Prince of Wands is kind of the, pardon my irreverence, the shit or get off the pot card, right? Like, go ahead and start making the plans. You're a prince, you're a knight, so you don't have to be the king. You don't have to jump from, not being in the courtyard at all to straight up being the king. Like, now's the time to kind of dabble and live and learn and experiment and dream and focus a little bit, whittle your focus a little bit. And here's some additional advice to support you in that. So first up is the King of Cups. Let the camera catch up here. There we go. So King of Cups, now we've graduated to King energy, right? We've gone from a Knight of Wands to a King of Cups. And so this King of Cups is really foundational energy that can help that younger prince or that younger knight make shit happen, okay? Because he's rooted in, and gender aside, right? I'm just talking energies here. So he's rooted in what his heart space wants and needs. He's rooted in his life purpose. That is a priority and a focus for him. And seeing this beat up car in the background is telling me that he's been able to identify and assess what makes him feel good, what his life purpose is, what his life path at this moment is, because he's gone through a lot of finding out what he doesn't want. Sometimes you don't know what you want until you know what you don't want. And he has been there, done that, bought the t-shirt a few times. And so now he's rising up out of that. Excellent timing with that scorpionic energy, rising up and going out of that, saying, okay, I don't want that. I do want this, and I'm going to go ahead and start pursuing that. So you have what you need, and it is time to kind of dive deep and listen to what you want, what's next for you, and put a little bit of a positive, lighter spin on it, right? When bad shit happens, like Five of Cups and, like scorpionic type death card energy, we can very easily, and no judgment, takes one to know one, we can very easily focus on the negative. We can focus almost solely on what we've lost, what didn't work, what we quote unquote failed at. And, it's kind of that old saying, you don't see the forest for the trees, right? You're seeing that particular end result, but you're kind of stopping there. It's almost like you forget to turn the page on the calendar. And this King of Wands is saying, hey, that month is over. Now it's time to turn the page on the calendar and be excited and go, what's next? Even more so with this Six of Cups energy. So Six of Cups, this is very childlike energy. This is innocence. This is wonder. This is like when you were in first grade and the teacher said, write about what you want to be when you grow up. And a lot of kids, without hesitation, without stopping to look at the details or fret over the minutia, said, I want to be an astronaut, or I want to be a teacher, or I want to be an actor, whatever. And they just stated it. They said, I want to be this thing. Did that 6-year-old stop and say, oh, well, I would have to go to school for 4 years, and then I'd have to go to school for another 3 years, and how would I afford that, and what would I do, and where would I live, and how would I pay rent, and oh my God, I've got kids, and blah, 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 blah. Like the 6-year-old is blessed in that they don't have to do that. Right? And this is not to be flippant and minimize any sort of life obligations that anybody has here. That is part of adulting. But this again pushes through that energy, much like this Prince of Wands or Knight of Wands. It pushes through that energy and says, hey, don't rain on your own parade, right? Don't dampen your own spirit. Go ahead and have fun. Go ahead and dream a little bit and plan a little bit. Let your heart out for a spin, right? And enjoy that. Life does not have to be a long complaint. You are not required to ensure that life is a long complaint. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. And if you're coming from a period, a recent period where you're down, this is a great signal to say, hey, things are on the upswing again. Go ahead and have fun with that, right? Go swing on the swings, go play on the playground, do what you need to do, dream, hope, dance, whatever. Enjoy that, right? Because that is the type of energy that raises your vibe. And then when you raise your vibe, you raise the vibe of the collective. You start attracting new opportunities. You start attracting different people in your life. And you just plain feel good. And things start to move on all cylinders, right? Or at least they start cooking a little more. So beautiful, excellent, fabulous energy. And then at the bottom of the deck, we've got the Emperor. A lot of masculine energy in this let me see. There we go. A lot of masculine energy in this reading. I mean, we've got a Knight of Wands, we've got a King of Cups, and then we've got a Emperor, which is kind of the the masculine to end all masculine. What the Emperor does is the Emperor looks at details. The Emperor is about production, is about efficiency, is about the step-by-step plodding along, the rules, the policies, the regulations, the things one must do to make something happen, right? That's why the Emperor and the Empress are such wonderful, it's a wonderful pairing, because the Empress is the dreamer and the artist and the creator and the nurturer, that high-level feminine energy. The abundant energy, and the Emperor is the one who takes those wonderful hopes, dreams, ideas, works of art, and gets them in a gallery, right? The Empress makes the art and the photograph or whatever. The Emperor wheels and deals and hustles and works and grinds to get said artwork on the wall. Okay, so to have this at the base of the reading here is to say that, the devil is indeed in the details, but with the Six of Cups, the details can be fun. And the details probably will be fun because you've got King of Cups and you're really starting to set your sights on something that works for you, something that really sparks your interest and raises your vibe. And you're starting to see that, you may see the kind of tangible step by step. You're starting to see that unfold a little bit because perhaps there's been some synchronicities and opportunities that have come your way recently. But you're also starting to trust and believe that you can indeed do this and you do indeed deserve it. Can't get much better than that. So I'm going to pull a clarifier or two just because. Go here. Beautiful. Yeah. Well, that pretty much sums it up, what I just said. So, these are too pretty to be blurry. There we go. Digest your past. And renew your life. Scorpionic, full moon, lunar eclipse energy in 2 cards or less. That pretty much sums that up. So that's what I have for you for this moon. I would love to hear what resonates for you. I absolutely love doing these for you, and it's always great to get the feedback and the scoop on what resonates and where you're at and what you're up to. It's nice to connect with the collective in that way. And also, I forgot to do this in the beginning, also, through the end of this month, so through the end of May, I'm still doing signups for my tarot school, which will start at the end of June. It's going to be a bit of a hybrid, kind of interactive. We'll have weekly Zoom calls, but there'll also be things that you can study on your own. I'll be available. The price of admission, if you will, includes all of that, but it also includes a few books, a tarot deck, a free personal reading with me. I mean, all sorts of goodies, all sorts of bells and whistles. And until the end of the month, I'm taking 10% off of the cost of the class. So you can check that out at my website at Takataro, TAKA-tarot.com. You can also see the offerings that I have as far as personal readings and recorded readings. and you can learn more about the school there as well. So again, that is Takataro at takataro.com. And until next time, love you all.